Hello everyone, this is Mary and I'm a mental health professional. Today I wanted to share with you a word that actually came to my mind as I was just doing my daily activities. This word had to do with patients again that I've treated in the past and common patterns that I have seen. Pretty much I've seen that again, patients who have like mental health disorders ranging for like mild to severe can struggle with negative beliefs about themselves. And I've heard many times this phrase, I can be my worst enemy. And again, some people may struggle with this at different degrees. Some may truly believe it, others may just speak it um, during episodes of worsening symptoms or during stressors when things are not going well in their lives. But it is so important to be aware of what this means and why are we speaking it. We definitely all can have a tendency to speak negatively depending on the circumstances that we live in our lives. And if those circumstances are fed by prior negative experiences, these beliefs usually strengthen as the individual grows and it becomes to some extent part of the identity. I've always heard that words definitely have a lot of power. And we sometimes might not really understand the power and how it can affect our lives, meaning that those words can become a self-fulfilling prophecy to some extent. I have seen it myself in close relatives and as well as patients as well. Pretty much what I'm encouraging today is to be aware of the words that are coming out of your mouth and how are you referencing yourself and what is it that you're portraying about yourself, because again ultimately these things can become habitual and it can impact on how we make decisions in our day-to-day lives. So how can we switch? How can we stop becoming our worst enemies and become our best allies? Everything has a process, right? How do we get to the negative? Again, it probably was fed by different experiences, authoritative figures in our lives as we were growing up. And it was fed and it was something that it grew to some extent. For some, it can be deeply rooted, for others, not as much. But the same process that we took to the negative is the same process that we have to reverse it back to a positive. And this is something that we have to be aware of. This is something that we have to purposely take the time day to day to be feeding the positive with our words, with our thoughts. Again, nobody's perfect. We definitely can all slip here and there. But the main thing is this truly a negative self-belief that has turned into truth? And then we have taken it on as a truth and started acting on these things. And we have taken already, we have in a way ripped the consequences of those self-fulfilling prophecies, or are we still in time of changing things around? Again, we all have a purpose. We all have a reason here on this earth. And I believe that we are capable of making changes. Sometimes in different circumstances, we might feel like we don't have the power. Okay, we may feel helpless to change things, but it's definitely something we can change, and it is our internal world. We can't change the outside, but we can surely make positive and slow changes to have a more positive internal world that can have positive consequences in our lives. And again, be mindful and aware when you start speaking these words. Be mindful what is coming out of your mouth and what are you speaking to some extent into existence, because these things are like, let's say, like seeds that we're planting, and these seeds can grow and produce fruit, negative fruits in our lives. And of course, we don't want that to happen. But the main thing is everything has a process. We have to be aware of in which stage of this process are we on, and is it not too late, but can we make a change? Can we start turning that wheel around so we can turn into a more positive mental space and a more positive and healthy well-being? Again, I encourage you today to reflect in your words, to reflect in your thoughts, and to start speaking positive things about yourself, to speak affirmations about yourself. Again, you might not believe it all the way at the beginning, but it can definitely have a change, a positive change. It definitely can be a slow one, but the more you work on a day-to-day basis, the easier it will be, and the less negative that you will see in your life. Again, I hope this encourages and inspires those who hear it, and I hope that it brings awareness, so you can start making those changes day to day. God bless everyone.